The Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a cornerstone of Indian civilization which encapsulates the eternal values of dharma, duty, and spiritual enlightenment. It is to be noted that dharma should not be interpreted here as religion. Rather, it should be taken as righteousness. Gita is a text that transcends time and space. It serves as both a spiritual guide and a philosophical treatise. Its teachings emphasize three paths of yoga or trimarg, that is, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, that can lead to the liberation of the human spirit. Karma Yoga involves performing actions without expecting a reward and is a way to reach spiritual liberation through work. Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion to God or service in love. Jnana Yoga is the path of knowledge or eternal renunciation. It involves giving up outside activity to pursue inner inquiry. The Bhagavad Gita suggests that each person should choose the yoga that best matches for their natural disposition. However, talking about the context, the Gita unfolds on the battlefields of Kurukshetra, where the Pandav prince Arjun, overwhelmed by moral dilemmas, turns to Lord Krishna for guidance. This setting is deeply symbolic, portraying life as a battleground, where individuals must navigate conflicting duties, desires, and moral challenges. This encapsulates the struggle to uphold dharma amidst forces of chaos, moral relativism, and cultural erosion. Krishna's counsel to Arjun is not only a call to action, but a reaffirmation of the eternal order. By urging Arjun to fulfill his duty as a Kshatriya or a warrior, Krishna underscores the importance of adhering to one's prescribed role within the societal framework, reflecting a vision of order and stability central to the ethos. The teachings of Gita thus calls for steadfast adherence to one's responsibilities, not merely for individual salvation, but for the collective welfare of society. This aligns with the belief in the preservation of social and cultural structures that uphold the moral fabric of the nation. The Gita prominently proclaims the doctrine of Karma Yoga, that is, performing one's duty without attachment to the fruits of action. It is a clarion call for selflessness, which resonates with the idea of serving the nation and society above personal gain, fostering a spirit of sacrifice and commitment to the greater good. Talking of cultural preservation, Gita's teachings are deeply rooted in the Indian worldview, celebrating the principles of Sanatan Dharma, which often emphasizes the preservation of indigenous traditions, languages, values, and cultural heritage. It gives strength in the face of adversity. Krishna's exhortation to Arjun to rise above despair and face his challenges with courage mirrors the emphasis on resilience and determination. The text inspires individuals to stand firm in their convictions, even when confronted with overwhelming odds, reflecting the ethos of national pride and self-confidence. While the Gita is deeply rooted in Indian thought, its message of universal harmony transcends borders. This vision of unity through diversity is particularly relevant in fostering a cohesive society where differences are celebrated within the framework of shared values and cultural unity. Dealing with its relevance in contemporary times, we see that where cultural homogenization and moral ambiguity often dominates the discourse, the Bhagavad Gita serves as a guide to discover purpose and identity. Its teachings inspire a balanced approach to life, combining material progress with spiritual depth and individual rights with collective responsibilities. The Gita's teachings also focus on righteous leadership or Rajdharma, self-discipline, sense of duty, respect for heritage, and vision of samatva or equanimity, which promotes balance and harmony in societal interactions, so as to work towards creating a cohesive society that respects tradition while adapting to modern challenges. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita, with its profound spiritual and philosophical insights, has influenced several English writers, both in terms of themes and their personal ideologies. Going into some notable examples, we find an excerpt of Times of India from 21st April 2003 titled How Gita Influenced Romantic Poets. It elaborates an exhaustive 20 years study undertaken by a scholar of English literature, claiming that British romantic poets like Wordsworth, Coleridge, Shelley, Keats, Byron, Blake, and even Scott were influenced by the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. His study was published by Macmillan, and the scholar was also interviewed by the BBC World Today radio service. However, very clear evidences can be noticed in the renowned modern English poet, critic, and dramatist T.S. Eliot. He was deeply influenced by the Gita. It is also said that he was directly exposed to the Bhagavad Gita during his studies at Harvard, where he attended classes on Indian philosophy. His essay, The Dry Salvages, which is a part of 4 quartets, reflects theme of detachment and selfless action, echoing Krishna's teachings and resonating with the Gita's concept of Nishkam Karma or selfless action. He writes, "And do not think of the fruit of action, fear forward." It is a direct paraphrase of Gita's teachings. This influence is also evident in his seminal work, The Wasteland, where the mantra Datta Dayadhvam Damyat, meaning giving, sympathizing, controlling, that parallels the Gita's call for disciplined and selfless action. Aldous Huxley, too, writes extensively about spirituality and was inspired by the Gita's metaphysical themes. His book, The Perennial Philosophy, draws upon ideas of self-realization, detachment, and unity that are central to the Gita. His novel Island, too, portrays an ideal society influenced by the principles of Gita. Traces of Gita can also be seen in American literature. An American essayist, lecturer, philosopher, and poet, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who is a key figure in transcendentalism, was significantly impacted by the Bhagavad Gita. His essay, Self-Reliance, admired its message of inner self-exploration and the eternal soul that is Atma. His essay, The Oversoul, can be quoted here as, "The soul is not born, it does not die, it is undivided and cannot be broken." Similarly, E.M. Forster, his character Professor Godbole in his novel A Passage to India, represents a mystical acceptance of the cosmic order, reminiscent of Krishna's teachings. Similarly, other American poets like Thoreau, Walt Whitman, and Robert Frost have expressed their acquaintance with the Gita, the Upanishads, and the Oriental philosophy. They proclaim that the central core of one's self or Antaratma is identifiable with the cosmic whole Brahma. When the writers from the West have shown such a strong inclination towards Indian philosophy, it is natural that writers of Indian English literature would draw extensively from the Bhagavad Gita, incorporating its philosophy and ideologies. These authors have used the themes of duty, detachment, and self-realization to explore cultural, spiritual, and existential questions. Some key Indian English writers who reflect the Gita's influence are Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. His Bhagavad Gita, A Philosophy of God Realization, emphasizes Nishkam Karma, which resonates throughout his commentaries and essays. R.K. Narayan's The English Teacher, Raja Rao's The Serpent and the Rope, and Kanthapura, where Rao's The Serpent and the Rope proclaims Ramaswamy's journey that involves realizing that the material world is an illusion and the true liberation lies in understanding unity of existence. Similarly, Mulk Raj Anand's Untouchable, The Sword and the Sickle all embarks on a journey questioning identity and the meaning of life. Arvind Adiga's protagonist Balram, in his Man Booker Prize-winning novel The White Tiger, showcases a modern-day reinterpretation of karma and dharma. The struggle to reconcile morality with ambition reflects the tension that Krishna addresses in Gita. Thus, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is more than a scripture, it is a living tradition that continues to illuminate the path of righteousness for individuals and societies. By drawing strength from its timeless teachings, we can build a nation rooted in the wisdom of its heritage, confident in its identity, and prepared to face the challenges of the future with unwavering resolve. The Bhagavad Gita thus becomes not just a spiritual guide, but an emblem for a just and vibrant civilization.